The parties recognize their shared interest in collaborating on the design, deployment, and validation of secure, real-time financial infrastructure for cross-border value transfer using neutral protocol agnostic mechanisms, tokenization and settlement of regulated financial instruments using distributed ledger technologies, integration of identity verified asset flows, frameworks for biometric identity mapping, real-time gross settlement RTGS systems simultaneously in compliance with next-generation financial messaging standards ISO 20022 deployment of institution-grade messaging and liquidity channels for wholesale market transactions under emerging international frameworks. He continues to say observations from a practitioner's perspective. Lord Belgrave is tweeting about NDAs, Ripple, and the XRP ledger. We got to dive into what is he saying here. We're also going to cover some other stuff around NDAs on the XRP ledger. Do any of these NDAs have expiration dates? When are we going to see some of this? We're going to cover all of that and more in this video, guys. Let's get straight to the point. This is Lord Belgrave's story. Fellas, he claims he is an ex-City London banker, now in New York, Bitcoin since 2016, XRP since 18 cents. Just wanted to let you know there's no way to confirm who this is, but there's a lot of XRP folks retweeting this. So I figured I'd mention it here, walk through it with you, and give you my opinion. So the first NDA snippet I'll share is from the Mutual Non-Disclosure Strategic Cooperation Agreement between Swiss banking giant and US blockchain infrastructure firm. Neutral protocol agnostic is code for bridge assets like XRP. Infrastructure that removes the dependency on a single sovereign currency, the dependency on the US dollar, or the yen or any one currency. Tokenization of regulated instruments refers to treasuries, sovereign debt, ETFs, and structured notes, not retail crypto products. Biometric identity mapping is way outside the scope of standard banking agreements. It's a sign of things to come, the convergence of digital identity rails and settlement systems. There's so much corruption and mismanagement. Having this biometric identity mapping could be the thing that drives out a lot of that fraud and waste in the system. And when you're talking about tokenization of financial products, we know how critical this is to the United States. They need stablecoin companies to buy treasuries to back stablecoins. This is going to keep the US dollar as the world reserve currency for now. But you see BlackRock, you see Ripple, you see Ondo, Open Eden, they're tokenizing treasuries on the XRP ledger. That's going to be huge, and money market funds. According to the agreement, this agreement regulates the exchange of non-public information for the purpose of assessing joint operational models and participation in multi-tiered liquidity corridors in compliant jurisdiction. That's a mouthful, right? Okay, step 5, translation in simple words. Multi-layered liquidity corridors means fiat rails, tokenized securities, and CBDCs and neutral bridges all working together. 2 cross-compliant jurisdictions lays the foundation for a global interoperable clearance layer that no state owns, but the institutions must ultimately connect to. The topic, a tokenized capital markets blueprint, a systemic scale. Now, I'm going to ask you this question as you're hearing all this stuff, right? This is triggering a lot of stuff in the back of my head. I don't want to go through all of them because you're like, damn, sensei, you got a lot going on up there. But you're like, how do you tie all this stuff together? What are you going to do that with? What technologies, huh? How's this going to work? You're going to need, obviously, Chainlink to connect legacy systems to the new digital rails and update data across the world. But you're going to need a neutral bridge asset that's going to be critical to all of this settlement. Settlement is the problem, the major problem. Getting accurate data, also a huge problem, but settlement is the biggest problem the world has. That's why it takes 2-5 days if you're lucky to send a payment across the world. Now Swift has accelerated it. Swift GPI is faster. You could do same hour settlement or same day settlement, but you're paying still that Swift and big fee to do that. Why would you do that? Wait that whole hour when you can blockchain it for 80, 90, even more or less to do that. So yeah, man, a lot of things happening here. I must emphasize, what I revealed here is just the purpose clause of the contract. The complete document includes operating models, governance structures, liability splits, and jurisdictional carve-outs. I will leak snippets at a rate and depth that is safe. So he thinks if he puts all this out there, this is what it sounds like, that he's afraid for his life. Look, we don't know what other cabals are out there in this data. If it's striking a chord, if this is all true, there are people going after people like this that are trying to expose it, or this person is doing this for views and clicks. We just don't know where it is. Some of this does read like we are talking about Ripple and XRP in this agreement, but it could be made to look that way. So I just want to give you that heads up. So we don't know. We don't have the paper, do we? If anything, I'd toss that document into confusion, or we'd go online and see if we can corroborate the document, corroborate it with anything else. That's how we know if this is real or not. We just don't have it. Why it matters. Contrary to popular belief, Ripple's work was never just about remittance corridors. These partnerships point to a concerted effort to build a neutral, auditable, and institutional-grade settlement architecture to rewire global markets from custody to capital formation. Check out the companies Ripple has been acquiring. Medico, wasn't it? Their entire job is custody of money. So you got Medico, you've got Ripple custody now too. Then they start trying to link up with the FX, right? Hidden Road. That's $3.5 trillion a year in clearing. They understand how critical that's going to be to make that institutional leap into the infrastructure that these banks and conglomerates are already using. Now they're trying to acquire Rail. Rail does 10% of all Rail's business, is 10% of the global stablecoin market business to business, right? And that's just a few billion now, but where is that going to be in 5 or 10 years? I'm guessing a couple trillion personally. Okay, let's move on here. He says, my way, I'll go slow. Every revelation will be followed by context explanation to prevent misrepresentation. The papers are there. They were written by lawyers, reviewed by regulators, and traded by bankers like me. And I know others have seen them and more. And he's saying deep dives, context, and proof. I can't be seen in public. I'll send privately on Telegram. Just be aware, this might be a trick to lure you into Telegram to scam you. You never know. I'm not joining this guy's Telegram, but I'm going to continue to watch the data that he's putting out because it's fascinating. And I know some of you like this too. So let's just see. We'll discuss it. That's the only way we can make sense of all this, isn't it? Some of the things that we're seeing may never happen, but a lot of the things that we've been saying for years on this channel definitely happening, right? Knowing the rumors of NDAs and Ripple, I wanted to discuss this, but I still see people not knowing what this all means. So let's just jump right into this and give you all the tea. Secret blockbuster collaborations. Some holders think some of Ripple's NDAs hide big, potentially game-changing partnerships with global banking giants, central banks, and payment networks and tech companies. These could be exclusive listing agreements, first mover integrations, and pilot projects that would spark institutional adoption at scale if disclosed. Global financial infrastructure. There's always rumors that NDAs are concealing the most cutting-edge use cases of XRP, such as cross-border CBDC solutions, instant replacement integrations, or the backbone-level payment rails for large notional or multinational networks. Market catalysts. Some speculate one NDA drop like a US Fed, Visa, or Amazon partnership could trigger an XRP price explosion, as the market sees the extent of institutional buy-in and is protected during regulatory ambiguity. What's really in Ripple's NDAs, facts and analysis, legal experts and court rulings show 1,700 NDAs is a catch-all. It's a combination of contracts, NDAs, trading agreements, and direct XRP sales. So when people say 1,700 NDAs, that's not true. There's 1,700 contracts. Some of those are NDAs. Some of those are trading agreements with exchanges or other banks that want to use XRP or resell XRP, direct XRP sales, service agreements. And then Ripple also has agreements with their employees to give them XRP, and that's when some of these came up. Most probably contain private information on payment settlement infrastructure tests and sandbox pilots, commercial terms for buying and selling or using XRP in liquidity solutions and remittance products, keeping business strategies secret from competitors, and market-moving leaks protect institutions from regulatory risks as they test XRP's tech. Some NDAs are for big news, but most are just business contracts for job security. Speculation critics debunked missed legal experts. Specifically, Bill Morgan said that the notion that all NDAs were supposed to expire after the SEC case is a myth. So fascinating. Bill Morgan said the notion that all NDAs were supposed to expire after the SEC case is a myth. NDAs are there to protect Ripple and its partners, not to tease the market, and expiration only occurs by agreement. So these NDAs don't expire or shouldn't expire. They would only expire if both parties agree to terminate that or move on from that NDA. Wider impact. While revelations of some NDAs will move settlement and price, most will be mundane. Not market-moving bombshells is possible. Some NDAs actually do hide real institutional progress, global bank pilots, back-end integration with big payment processors, or nascent CBDC trials. This fits with Ripple's obvious positioning as a bridge between legacy and finance and blockchain. But in practice, most NDAs are probably boilerplate, shielding commercial and technical assessments or small projects. The real blockbuster partnerships will likely only be announced as those institutions are comfortable announcing post-litigation and won't all be announced at once. XRP holders should anticipate a blend of bombshell revelations and standard implementations, not just one big reveal. I thought that was a nice way to kind of tie all that in. And the final thing, I want to show you this. Ripple has started 8 CBDC stablecoin projects with the same number of NDAs, according to an ex-Ripple employee, Anthony Welfare. There's a lot of other CBDC pilots that we don't even know about that haven't been made public. There's 20 plus, and we've only got a few announced. You're like, why haven't those been announced? When will those be revealed, and what will be in them? And what are the countries? You begin to see maybe France or maybe the ECB. There might be some big economy countries in there, and you do find Ripple in rooms that only a handful of people on the planet are permitted to enter. Ripple is one of the world's largest blockchain infrastructure companies. And in the next few years, they will be one of the strongest companies, in my opinion, in the top 10 or top 5, or maybe in the top 3 of most valued companies because of their assets like XRP and because of their solutions that they can bring to the world. Okay, I hope you like this NDAs and Lord Belgrave's info, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful Sunday and week ahead. If you want to level up your crypto game, guys, I've been dropping bombs in my community. Kryptonaires. We're 25% off right now. WP.com/Kryptonaires. Link down in the description. XRP 25 for 25% off your first month. Hope to see you in the community. If you have questions or want to talk to me, that's